Welcome to Complex Kids, Simple Solutions, the podcast where we cut through the chaos of raising a neurodivergent and a complex kid with a practical, no-nonsense strategy. I'm Michelle Shoaidi, speaker, advocate, and a mom of a complex kid myself. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, unheard, or just plain exhausted on this journey, you are not alone. Here we tackle the real struggles head on, share actionable insights, and remind you that small wins matter. Let's dive in and make life just a little bit easier, one episode at a time. You are your child's hero. Today, we're so excited to welcome Yvette Holmes, a devoted mother, caregiver, and community builder whose journey into rare genetic disorders began with her son, Jack. Now 16, Jack has faced significant developmental delays since birth and functions around the age of 2 to 3 years old. It wasn't until he was 10 that Yvette and her family finally received an answer, a mutation on the TBR1 gene. That discovery led Yvette to create a Facebook group that now connects and supports over 200 families worldwide who are raising children with TBR1 syndrome. Yvette and her partner, Bess, have been together for 26 years and are raising 2 children, Eva, 19, and Jack. Outside of her advocacy work, Yvette is a full-time caretaker in a residential facility for severely handicapped adults, a job she loves and pours her heart into every day. She brings compassion, lived experience, and a fierce commitment to community wherever she goes.
Hey, everybody. We're so excited to have Yvette today with us. Oh, Yvette I don't even know how to explain how grateful we are to this woman because she has been the face and the force behind TBR1, which is my son's rare genetic disorder. So Yvette, welcome. I am so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you like to have me as guest.
Of course. Yvette, I tell everybody, I have never met anybody like you before because you found out your son, Jack, had TBR1 a long time ago, from my understanding. And we've been a part of this for maybe 3 years. So Tell me how that came about, how you ended up getting a genetic testing so late in Jack's life too, because it wasn't when he was little. Tell me your story a little bit.
Well, Jack is 16 years old right now. And we got the official diagnosis of TBR1 when he was 10 years old. But we knew at 9 months old that he wasn't developing the way he should, and that it was not something that was a little delay. It was that much of a delay that also the doctor at that point could say, this is out of the curves. And I actually knew in the first weeks that it was a very different contact I had with Jack than with his older sister. But he was developing the first years very, very slow, and so it was worrying from the start, actually. And I think the first years he had a lot of special daycare and therapies, and he got the diagnosis autism, developmentally delayed. They tried to find anything, but they couldn't put their finger on it. But the doctors at that point said, probably it is genetically. They thought it would be genetically, but they said the technology is not quite there yet. But we expect it to be genetic. And then years later, the West technology entered, the whole exome sequencing. And that's when we found out. But then Jack was already 10 years old. And for me, the first time I heard it, it was really a relief, because all these years in the back of my mind, I always thought I had done something wrong or something in the pregnancy, or I didn't give the first years, could have done more in therapy or whatever. And although all doctors, everybody said it was 100% not the case, I could not get it out of my system. So the first thing I thought was the complete relief of something off my shoulder. Oh, it was nothing to do with me. He was born this way.
Isn't it crazy how, like, as you're talking, I feel the exact.
Really?
I thought that I had eaten too much Mexican food when I was pregnant with him. I was like, did I eat too much Mexican food? Did I drink too much Dr. Pepper, which is my drink of choice?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you go and you're like, what did I do? I did something. And you know, I don't know about Jack, but Drake was premature. He was 32.
No, Jack was not.
3 pounds.
He was late. We had to.
Oh, really?
Had to get him. How do you call it?
Yeah.
He didn't come out on his own.
No, but that is incredible, because I feel like a lot of the moms who go through this process, especially in the beginning, and you blame yourself for so much because you think that it was something that you did.
Yeah.
And then when you get this, it is a relief. It was a relief.
It's just really relief. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it was, I always, when he was younger, sometimes I saw children who had a diagnosis. The most obvious is children with Down syndrome. And then in my mind, I thought, oh, I wish my child had something like that. And of course, I did not want that, but that also everybody would understand what he had, because in Jack, you don't see anything. I think the same like Drake, if you see him on the outside, especially when he was so young, you could not see this child had handicap or disability. Not at all. But you could see that when he walked in a stroller, and he couldn't walk until he was, almost 4 years old. So before that time, I had to keep him in a stroller also when we went into the tram in Amsterdam. And then people would look at me, well, why is your child in a stroller? Put him on the stair. Well, my child cannot walk, cannot stand. But then they look at you if you are a bad mom or something. And because I was also insecure, I was always wondering, he is delayed, but perhaps he can get well. I knew in my mind he couldn't, but as long as you don't have a diagnosis and your child looks as good as Jack, because he was also such a pretty boy, I thought, perhaps everybody is right. Friends are saying, oh, he's just late. Perhaps they are. I was also always doubting myself. And
No, so for us, we knew from the beginning also, like there was, because Drake was so delayed, and because he was born prematurely, we had to follow through with the hospital every 6 months. And you could tell that he was just falling behind. Now, with Drake was interesting because he could walk, but he didn't speak until he was almost 4. His speech was delayed, and his tantrums, I think, a lot to do with. Now I know that TBR1 has that side, right, of the behavioral side of children. But back then we didn't know, and we would go to restaurants and we couldn't sit down. He had ADHD. He couldn't sit down. He couldn't, and he couldn't talk. He couldn't communicate. And it was, this, and people look at you and they judge you. They do. And maybe they're not really judging us, but as moms, we feel like we're being judged.
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
So,
no, I recognize that completely, Jack, I always say the first, I think 9-10 months of Jack was the easiest child I've ever had, because I had an older daughter. I always said, well, if Jack had been the first, I would have had more children, because this baby is so easy. But then in one night it switched, and my goodness, he was constantly, he couldn't speak, but he was constantly that behavior. He was unhappy. I couldn't help him. Yeah. And then the tantrum started when he was older. So that behavior was so difficult. Yeah, years and years and years. And that's almost till today, but it's much less. It's becoming much less, and he can talk better. It helps when children talk, it gets better. But it's not like a regular child. This is an issue. Yeah. It's still a problem.
So when did you start? Sounds like you started intervention with him when he was still like before 1 year old.
Yeah, very young.
Correct?
Yeah, because he started in regular daycare with his sister, and around the time we found out also with the doctors that it was not completely okay with Jack, and they did a lot of testing. Also, the daycare came to us. We want to talk with you because we are seeing that Jack is not developing well, and perhaps this is not the right place for him. So around a year old, we had to go search for another place for him. Then he first ended up a half year at home because there was nothing. And he had some therapy, physical therapy, etc. I took him there. And then he went to a revalidation center. I don't know if you call it revalidation center. It's where you take all the people, younger people who need to learn to walk, talk, everything again.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what is the English word, but they thought that would be good that they could teach this young boy to learn to walk. But after half year, they said, well, no, his cognitive abilities are not good enough. They always overrated Jack. When they see him, till the day now, they overrate him. But when they started working with him, they noticed this boy is delayed, but he's delayed because he's also cognitively delayed. So this is not the right place. So then that was the step that we said, okay, the cognitive part is way worse than we thought. And that's why he had to go to the special daycare. And that was the best place. I think he was 2.5, 3 years old when he went to the special daycare. And then a little bus pulls outside, and that little boy put in that bus. Oh, but there was a very nice lady who went along. It was very cute, but oh my goodness, then he was so small and he had to go in that bus. But that was nice with Jack. He has always loved to ride in a car. So for him, it was perfect. Just looking outside, perfect. Everybody loves Jack. And then that was a good pace because they also learned him to go on the toilet, because also everything was late, but these people have the ability to learn him also those skills. It took a long time, but everything a little bit progressed. And then at around 5, he went to special education.
Yeah, it sounds, I will tell you everything that you're saying. It just sounds so much like Drake. But when he was 3 years old, here in the United States is the yellow school bus. And the yellow school bus would come and pick him up, even though it was just 3-4 minutes from his house. It would come, pick him up, and then take him to the school. And he loved it. And my heart was like, it's tiny. Every time we put that kid in the bus. But
that is also, I don't know if that is with Drake, but he has not that much. He is, of course, attached to me, but that progressed way longer. Now I'm really his mother. But the first years, okay, I was that, but not like my daughter. When I put my daughter to the daycare at half a year's out, she would cry her eyes out. And then when we left, it was okay. Jack never had that or like that. So for him, it was just a bus ride. The fact that his mother didn't join, I think he didn't really mind at that point. Yeah. So that were also the things, and that is still something like Jack now. That is also, when he's older, for me now, really a relief. that, he is attached to me, yes, but not that as a regular child. He also, if he is in where he works now or where he lives now, if there are nice people, he's very quickly okay with them. If they get him, if they do what he likes, Jack is fine. So that's the other side of Jack.
Yes, Yvette, I think I was thinking about this just the other day, and it was exactly this. Like, don't go with anybody, and that is actually one of the scary things for us here, right? It's like he goes with people, he trusts people so easily, and he just, he does that. So but I was thinking, I'm like, how come, like, he doesn't have this stranger danger thing in his head? And you know what it is, Yvette? We take these kids from therapy to therapy to therapy to therapy, and they meet all these people, and they have a physical therapist, they have a speech therapist, they have an occupational therapist, and they have a behavioral therapist. And we tell them, hey, go with them, it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. So that's true. Right? From a young age, you give them the trust. That's true. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so you true. I haven't thought about it like that, but that's true. Yeah.
It's like, it's because they're gonna teach you this, or go with them, or play with this, and that's how it is.
They become flexible, and that's very good. That's also why at around 10, because it was really difficult with Jack in the house, also for his for bigger sister. So around 9, 10, we started to look for some relief in the weekends. And you have great houses here when they can go in the weekends. So we found a nice house somewhere in the woods. And I also did it because it was difficult for me, because I thought, oh my God, he's too young. But the other side, I thought it's good that he learns now that he can also live somewhere else. He comes back to me just for a few hours, then for a day. And then year, we did that. He learned to adapt to other people, other situations, another bedroom. And now at 16, he went living there permanently. So now it's changed. He is staying over at our house once a week for a night. And he has adapted so quickly. He's so happy. It's difficult for a mom to prepare your child, but it is good for them because for Jack, it's perfect. But I know I'm from the Netherlands. I haven't told. I know that in every country, the facilities are so different. So I really know that we are so lucky in Holland that the facilities are very good. So that's why.
It's incredible. Just the things you're saying. So explain this. So he would be in school during the week or with you during the week.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, they have a home for the children to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Only for the children, it is not easy to get, how do you go? You have to get the permission to. But that's also so you have to have a very severe indication. Well, Jack has that. So it's severe enough that they say that is good for the child and also for the family, because you want to keep the family strong to prevent crisis situations. That's what they think. If you have a situation where the family gets relief now and then, you prevent crisis situations. And we started just with one day, and then one weekend a month. And then years later, I think we was already 14, 15, then we started 2 weekends a month. And now at 16, there was a place for permanent living. And also in Holland, the places are a lot of shortages is beginning in these living situations. So we thought we have to get this place because we knew this house. It's in the middle of the woods, and he lives together with 6 young children of 16 to 20, and the houses are from 60 to 24, and very nice people who care for them. I'm always welcome. It's just a half an hour ride, and I can go to one. He comes to me, And during the day, they have a separate place where he works. So he works in the garden, and he works also in the wood place. So he learns to work with tools, etc. And that's really something for Jack, because he likes that. And it's good. I see him. He is now 2 months, I think. 3 months he's now in the home, and he has grown 15 to 20 centimeters. He's blossom. It's also his age, but I also see him growing. I think.
Yeah.
Because he cannot talk. He can talk, but he's not you cannot really talk in a way like we do. So you can ask Jack, how do you like your new living situation? And then he says, good. That's what he says, but then he means it. I know that is from the bottom of his heart. Because if it's not good, he would not say that. But I see in his always face, he loves it. So that's so nice.
Oh, Yvette, that sounds.
Yeah.
Here in the United States, it is very different, and even in between the states, within the United States, it's different. And I, as you know, I'm originally from Brazil, and in Brazil, it's totally, completely different.
Yeah.
So I feel like you guys are up here in the United States. We're here in Brazil. We're like way down here. There's nothing. But
in
they're
Europe, there is also a big difference between the countries, because we are from the northern Europe. I think in north of Europe, it's kind of the way we are. But I know from another TBR1 mother who is in the south of Europe, also there is practically nothing. How do you do that with these children? I would not have known. Of course you do it, but I always thought it is not the life for Jack. I knew this is not. He was always at home and to special daycare, but he couldn't make friends. It's not his environment like that. I couldn't give him what he needed. I tried. He was a happy boy, and that's what I see now. But this is better, this environment. I see. He's happier now.
Well, I'm happy for you as a mom, seeing your child happy makes you happy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like especially with our special needs kids, when we see when they're struggling, we want to go and we want to help them, and we want to grab them, and we want to make it better, and we want to fix whatever the problem is, right? But they also don't. We do those things, they also don't grow. So, but they have to have the mentality and the cognitive part of their brain ready to do those things. And sometimes they will come at 10, sometimes it's going to come when 12, sometimes it's going to come when they're 16. And we can't really, we don't know. We don't
know. No.
Yeah.
No, and I think the TBR1 children, and not all, but a lot of them, if you look at them, people expect more from them than they actually can do.
Yes.
And that is
even how I was with Dre. It took a long time for me to accept the fact that, you know what, there is an intellectual disability going on here. It took a long time for me to accept the fact that, I don't know, is he going to write? Is he going to read? Sure. He's 10. He's 10 and we're still trying, right? The kid can remember people's faces and places and where we met people, their names. Like, he remembers all of those things, but you put like a word in front of him that he has read, that he has seen over and over and over again, and he can't read it. So, it's crazy. It's crazy how the brain
is really differently wired. Yeah, Jack, you know it. Jack never cannot write, cannot read. No, tried everything, cannot.
Yes,
this is the way it is. You can. What I think it is because a lot of TBR1 children have the diagnosis autism. A lot also don't have it because I think that's logical. It's not. It is. One psychiatrist would say it's autism, the other one is not. I mean, I can understand there are differences, but I think the children are probably a little bit the same because they have autistic traits. But they have also relatively social people, and that's what is so different with the TBR. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I say. That's the plus of Jack is that he's such a likable person, and exactly what you say with Derek. He remembers people. He knows how to get what he wants in a very great way because Jack always he's into clothes, everything, but especially dressing up clothes or work gear clothes. So if people are in the garden and wearing some special uniform, he will get it. He is so, and people really like him, and that is a part of what you say. Is that autism? Yeah, of course. I think it is because he's so focused. But it's a different kind of children. If I see one, I say, I recognize them instantly. But if I tell people who don't know Jack that he has autism, then they don't expect Jack. Because when Jack walks in, they think, no way. Because he is really like social. And
and that was a big thing for us because in the beginning we didn't know Drake had TBR1. So in the beginning, what they wanted to, the diagnosis they wanted to give was of autism, and I was like, but look at how social this kid is. Like, don't you have to have that part of that to make an autism? And I never thought, and I never admitted to the autism diagnosis. I said, there are a lot of diagnoses here. There's so many here. You can do dyspraxia. You can do low muscle tone. You can give me ADHD. You can give me OCD. You can give all of these, but I'm telling you, autism is not one of them. Yeah. But and so anyway, we fought against that a lot, and I think that it came across it kind of as like you don't accept that your child is autistic, and it's not that I didn't want that diagnosis. It's just that the diagnosis didn't fit my child, and I wasn't just going to take a diagnosis just to take a diagnosis. I wasn't going to do that.
Of course,
right. And so, and I used to tell people that's what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I wish
it's just, they are a different kind of persons. Yeah, they are. Yes. They all are. I know a few because in Holland we have at this moment 12 families with TBR1 children, and I've met.
Wow.
And this is a small country. And we have met each other. So I know a lot of the children. I have seen them. And you recognize them. Yeah.
They must do a really good job at genetic testing in the Netherlands because here you got to go through a lot of things and jump through a lot of hoops for you to be able to get
we are. It's easier. Already because I think we were the first in the Radboud ziekenhuis in Nijmegen to do that genetic testing. That was 5 years before Jack got the diagnosis. So we could have had Jack's diagnosis at 5. Actually, we should have. But in my case, the lab had made a mistake. So 5 years later, they found, terrible. Okay. But to say that, so it was already earlier than in the United States that the TBR1 popped up in Holland. And we have just another system. So for us, It's when West technology was introduced as something the health system thinks it's very good for the people, then parents can have that when their children has developmentally delayed children don't have all the other boxes, because you have all other things, and then they say, okay, we can also do the West technology. And that's why we have a lot of children who are tested.
I was going to say, you should, honestly, because I guarantee you, I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and her son has different characteristics. We just, and they're almost pushing her to not have a genetic testing because they don't think that this is genetic. They don't think he doesn't fit this box. And I'm thinking in my head, just do the test. Like, then you will know. Is it positive? It's not positive. And you'll know. So,
but it's very expensive. So that's the thing, huh?
The insurance companies, they don't want to pay here in the United States.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, with us, it's also the doctors don't do the genetic testing on request. Also, if they think it's not genetic, they wouldn't do it. But if they think it is, they will do it. It's just a different system we have, huh?
It is totally different. Now, I want to talk to you about how you, like in the beginnings, when you got, you said, I felt a relief, but then, you were what? One in how many in the world? And how did you come out that?
Yeah, the only thing I got from the doctor was research from France with, I think, 8 children. I don't know exactly. And the doctor said there were 2 other children in the Netherlands, and that he could ask the parents if we could get in touch. I said, well, I want that. So I called those parents. So then I met the first 2 pairs of parents. And then I let it sink in a little while. I think it passed a few months. And then one evening I started to scroll to the Facebook and put in TBR1. And then I got into Alvaro's page from Spain. Alvaro, TBR1. So in Spain, Alvaro was diagnosed. So I got in touch with that mother. I said, well, I'm the mother of Jack, TBR1. So then I met someone in Spain. I thought, okay, this is really interesting. And that mother had waited for years because her son was diagnosed years earlier when Jack should have had it. So that's when I started to think, oh my God, then there must be more in the world. Because now I have the Holland, I have one in Spain, there must be more. And then I thought, well, let's give it a try, let's give it a go. And that's why I made the TBR1 Facebook page. But that was, everything I do is always organic. It's not thinking about the end, it's just organic, thinking, okay, there must be more people. Okay, let's see. And then slowly people began to find it. I think the first year we had 25 parents. And then I began to notice that it was such a relief for everybody that for the first time I noticed all moms, mostly moms, have felt the same as I. Oh my God, we are not alone. Oh my God, it was so good for everybody that I think, okay, this is really what we need. And that's why I thought, okay, then I thought it was good to make a website because there are a lot of information from TBR1. Where do I put it? So that's why I made a website. And then I think 2 or 3 years later, we started entering the young moms, as I call it. Not that they're so much younger, but my son is now 16. The young moms are now, I think, have children of 6. So then just 10 years younger than Jack, and they got their diagnosis at a very earlier age, 1, 2 years old, 3 years old. And then I noticed that for those moms, it was so great that they all said, "Oh my God, I'm so happy that we have that." And then I thought, yeah, this is what I always wanted to have had myself when I had Jack at 1, 2, 3 years old, and I would have had known that there are so many other children with TBR1 in the world, and that I'm not alone. It would have helped me so much. I thought the first 10 years for Jack were so difficult for me, not on the outside, because I'm very good at not showing on the outside, because I think, I'm a mother. You don't show. That's for me.
We pull it together.
Yeah, of course. But in the inside, it was very, very difficult. I know it would have helped me if I would have known I was not the only one. Also, because I still hear that from moms, that the people who are close to you still can be really doubtful. Oh, is that true? Is your child disabled? No. Is it really true? And then I would have said, yes, it is true. Yes, he has this, and there are a lot of other children. Point. I would have been so much more secure at that way. And so that's why, that's how it, developed. Yeah. So, and then I thought it would be good. So in Holland, there are more families. So, in Holland, I want to meet physically. So that's what we do. So we have contact. And there are also 2 moms I meet every 2-3 months for a lunch. That's very good, because our children are the same age. So we have the same things we struggle with. And that's why I also then began to put all the information in a spreadsheet just for me. So more that I thought, if I have a mom from Hungary and I think, I know I have another family in Hungary, then I can match them. So that's when I started to match people. Then the Americans, that you are now the bigger population, of course, that you could meet. Because I always thought that's best if you have in your own country, because you always have so many problems also that are different in the country where you are in, especially therapy and housing and schooling. So that's the way it's developing, I think. And that's just what I do, is matchmaking, I think.
TBR1 matchmaking. So I love it. No, but honestly, as a mom of a TBR1 kiddo, like, you were the reason I found out that there are other people out there. To be honest with you, when I went to get, when we got Drake's results, it was like 3 days before Christmas. And was it 2022? I think.
No, yes,
2022. I think so. No. And the interesting thing is that even the geneticists who we went to a genetic clinic at the Children's Hospital in Orange County. They're amazing. They're great. But they didn't know anything about TBR1. No. So they handed me like this thing, like this little booklet. They actually, Simon Searchlight, they have an explanation on what TBR1 is. But if I remember correctly, when we came into the Facebook group, I think Drake was only like 40 something in the world at the time.
I should look it up. Well, what number he is?
Yeah. But something like that. And then, now we're above 200 and growing. And I really, truly feel that the more we do the genetic testings, the more we're going to find these rare disorders, especially within the autistic community, because, a lot of times I had a neurologist who came to me and said that autism is like the flu. If you have a runny nose, or if you have a cough, or whatever you have, it falls under the flu, quote unquote. And I thought he was crazy. I honestly, I walked out of there and I'm like, you are a psychopath. But but I think that a lot of people will just take that diagnosis and they don't think.
Yeah, you are glad you have a diagnosis.
Exactly.
because also otherwise you don't get any help.
That is correct. That's the other thing also, right? So, but what I love about that was that you came in, you welcome everybody. I just want to say, she welcomes everybody to the Facebook group, and she connects people to the other people. And then she, and she explains, like, to me, you went down and you explained, like, my son is Jack. And then and then everybody kind of introduces themselves, and then you can talk to them. You have had people that have come into the Facebook group that were Brazilians, and I connected with them in Portuguese, and I said, whatever you need, just, I'm in the United States, but I am Brazilian. My son is half Brazilian. So, and I love those connections within the world. And it is getting bigger. The community is getting bigger. And I call your brain the Yvette brain. We need to get the Yvette brain and put it into a computer database, because for right now, you are who you are, and you know everybody, and you can put one person with the other. But pretty soon here, we're going to have to change this whole data bank. We're going to get out of it.
It's becoming too big. Yeah. And that's the thing with organic growth. What I do, organic growth. Then you come to a point that you think, okay, now we have to change things, and I think we are there now. That's true.
So, Yvette, you have done wonderful things in your life. Caring for Jack, bringing people together, being the matchmaker in this community, in the TBR1 community. What about Yvette, the woman, Yvette, like, as moms of special needs children, that you lose yourself, right? It's all about them. It is about them. But what about Yvette? Like, what about you? Like, now that Jack is out of the house, and I know that's a worry about him, and I know there's always going to be of that mom part. But what does Yvette want to do now? What are your aspirations? Things that what do you want to see happening?
Yeah, wow, it's an easy question, perhaps not an easy answer. Because also in that way, I am really a person who doesn't think that much ahead. And I always have a lot of trust in myself that I make the right decisions when I need to. So I now feel that it's very good to really have time with me, only me, because Jack was always was 24/7. So there are more time for me to think, to enjoy things. And I have a really nice job. It is with also with disabled people, but I love that. I like to take care. That's just part of my character, and I love that. So that's for me is just my job, and I'm spending more time with that. And I think that in the next months, years, I think it will develop. I mean, I think I can do more other things, but I don't know what. I think it will come to me. I believe that. I'm
sure it will. I have no doubt.
Yeah, because that always has happened like that for me. That I think I can really, if an opportunity comes, I can take it. And I know now that just making sure that Jack is good where he is, coming home every week, having time for my job. And for me, that's okay. Then I have a lovely daughter who needs time. I have a husband who needs his time, and that's fine for now. But I know that there is more. What we discussed about, I would love to do more for TBR1, for the foundation, and taking it further. But I know now that I cannot do it. I don't have the energy for it. That's a good decision now for me. And that is what I've learned in life that I have to say no to things first before I can say yes to them later, perhaps.
Yeah. You touched on something that I love, and that is that things come to you. I think that when we are moms of special needs children, we have this sixth sense of things will come to me, things are going to happen. I don't know what they are, but I know that something good is going to happen. Something good's coming. And I think it's because we have to celebrate those small moments as they come, you know, because that's the only way to really be able to raise a special needs child. You have to celebrate those moments. And
you live in the moment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you live in the moment. That's also when I look back at the time with Jack, also the first 10 years that I say it's heavy for me. Yes, it's heavy, but I look back that was and still am a happy person. We have a good, nice, loving family because we just enjoy the moment. The smaller things. The world is a lot smaller with Jack. We couldn't go on big holidays when all my friends went with their children who were 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, travel the world. No, we cannot do that. Well, that's not a problem. For me, it was not a problem. We are very happy. And I think that's perhaps has always been in me, but with Jack, it definitely came out like that. And that is still the way I live now. And it is a very much more relaxed way to live.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And then,
creating the small wins, the small things that come to life.
Yeah, it is.
Now, as the last question, what would you like to tell a mother who is just starting this journey of special needs and genetic disorders, or just in general, like special needs in general? Like, what would you like them to know? Like, what are your words of wisdom?
Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust yourself. You know best. I definitely didn't have that. It's also something I didn't have for myself, but it's also my kind of upbringing that I always listen to professionals. That's good. I think you have to respect professionals. That's very good. But with these children who are so rare, the professionals also don't always know. So if I look back in quite a few times, I should have made my point more clear. No, this is the way it is. You really know as a mom. You really do. And I think it's difficult. Also, if it's your first child, it's even more difficult, I think. Because everybody has an opinion. Trust yourself, really. You know it as a mom. Listen to experts, listen to professionals. Of course, always do that. But trust yourself. Don't listen.
Yeah. Lovely. I call it the mama gut. Like, that's what I always say. It's the mama gut. Trust that in turn. We have that, and we just have to trust it. So well, that, I tell you how I make one, and thank you for done and TBR1 as a mom of a TBR1 child, and even other moms out there. I know that even the mom listening to you right now, just into what you've gone through and what your words of wisdom, you're going to touch them, and just like you have touched my life with. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for participating. And
thank you, Michelle, for your very kind words. And it was lovely to talk to you, as always.
All right. Next time.
That's it for today's episode of Complex Kids, Simple Solutions. If you found this helpful, please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And if you're looking for more support, join our Thrive group on Facebook, where we dive deeper and connect with other parents. For more information, be sure to visit www.wisdom4complexkids.com, or you can also reach me at www.michelleshoaidi.com. Remember, you are doing an amazing job. Take it one step at a time, and I will see you next time. You are your child's hero.